Welcome to Wednesday's Vibes with Izzi Meditates. I am a mindfulness meditation practitioner, and today I have the opportunity of the world to sit with this amazing gentleman. It's Mr. Brett Cotter, who is the author of 3 Keys to Managing PTSD. He is also the founder of Stress is Gone. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on, Izzy. It's a big honor to be on with a fellow meditation teacher. And
Oh,
yeah, and I love that, we're connected through Meditation Magazine. We both
yes.
teach their meditation teacher training program. So big ups to Kevin.
Yes.
Yeah, for-
Shout out to Kevin.
yeah, yeah.
I love it. I'm so excited to share this space with you. This is a conversation that should always be out there, and it's healing from trauma, healing from PTSD, how to deal with anxiety and stress. And I'm sure that all of us have gone through it to some extent. And so that's what we're here to talk about today. But before we begin, I'd like you just to introduce yourself and tell us about how you began your journey into helping others heal.
Yeah, so I got into this field of stress relief to relieve my own stress. I was 27, living in California, and started realizing that I was having this major problem with jealousy in my relationships with women. And I was in another relationship with a woman that I loved, and jealousy was just rearing its ugly head and sinking its teeth into the relationship. And, what do guys do? They try to fix things. So I went on this path to try and fix it. And as I went down that path, I just got so lucky and luckier to come across amazing teachers and healers. And the apex of that was a session that I did. I was referred to a healer in Sedona, Arizona, and I drove out that weekend, had a session with him, and within 5 minutes, he surfaced cellular memories that were deeply buried in my body and my subconscious mind from when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
And the memory was, I was in my living room as a child on the rug, and I looked down, and the memory was so vivid. It was like I was watching a movie, but I was also in it when it surfaced, because I looked down and I saw the color of the rug. And I haven't thought about that, the rug that we had in the house when I was 5 years old, and I actually felt it underneath my skin. And it was of my parents, and they were arguing the exact same way that I argued with all of my girlfriends, right?
Wow.
That's where the pattern took root. And then a
Yeah.
few other things happened to me that a year later. And in that session, when that memory came to the surface, and that memory came to the surface really fast in the beginning of the session, feelings of jealousy started to unlock and release from my body. And when that happened, feelings of anger and rage underneath the jealousy started to unlock and release. And then underneath the anger and rage were feelings of sadness. And that started to unlock and release. And underneath it all was the fear of abandonment. Because after that experience where I saw that initial, pattern taking place between my parents that I was emulating throughout, all my years up to that point, my parents got divorced. And the fear of abandonment came when my father left the house, and then he wasn't showing up for visitations because he was going through his own PTSD from his early childhood of his one of his parents dying, then going to Vietnam, right? And then coming back and being a New York City firefighter. So he wasn't able to show up for that quote unquote failure, right? When my mother divorced him because there was too much alcohol and drug use. So he couldn't face that and come back. So that was like the secondhand stress that I inherited as a young child.
Yeah.
I feel like we're all born innocent, but we all do have this cross to bear and heal. So it's
Right.
not our fault, but it's our responsibility to let it go. And when I first got into this, my goal was to heal my heart to the point where I returned it to the space it was in when I was first born.
Oh,
That was
wow.
like that was my mission, And then
Yeah.
after a while, I healed a critical mass of pain from my heart. And then this rush of my own spirit, my unconditional self-love, or whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
started to fill my body from my heart. And then my life totally changed. The trajectory of my life, what was important to me, my priorities, my
Right.
top one, two, three was totally different than what it was, going into that experience.
Yeah. That's such a deep, like I can feel that like deep in my soul to just feel that freedom of releasing layer by layer by layer. And I think it's important. Children don't realize they're going through trauma. We don't know as children that these are traumatic events. We live in that environment and we think that that's the environment, and it's not until we get older that things pop up and we're like, wow, why am I doing this? And sometimes you won't even ask yourself that because you don't know, and so you have to seek help through healers or through therapists or through meditation teachers and things like that to help you learn how to heal from these traumatic events.
Yeah, and you bring up
Wow.
a great point of like not knowing we're holding on to the baggage. And
Yeah.
I only started to look at this when I was self-sabotaging my relationships.
Yeah.
When I was doing something I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
So if you kind of audit your life, and I think it's important to do this sometimes to see like, where am I tripping myself up? Where could I be better? Right?
Right.
Am I at my optimal functioning in my love life, with my family, in my career, pursuing my passions,
Yeah.
with my children, with my spouse, and if you find a pocket where you're like, wow, I really want to improve there, usually you could go down the rabbit hole and find some old core belief, some
Yeah.
old fear that's tripping you up.
Yeah. Yeah. And to see it that way, when I see people who are hurting, before when I saw people who were hurting, or if I had people in my life who hurt me, I immediately took offense to that
Mm,
because I'm like, they're trying to hurt me. But I realized that they're actually hurt themselves and they're actually dealing with these traumatic events that they don't even know about. You know what I mean? Like you
mhm.
don't know. And then it's when you sit down and you go deep inside, you realize that this is causing me to be this way. I've witnessed like a lot of children abuse and violence within my community, so I'm very super sensitive to keeping my kids safe. Didn't know that before, but now I realize that that was a trigger or a thing for me. Any type of gun violence, I think we talked earlier about me being held up at gunpoint,
Mhm.
once, and it was my first day on the job. A
Oh
gunman
my
had come
gosh.
in and, decided that he wanted to take all the money, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to find the keys to open the register, and that was very traumatic for me. And so for many years, that kinda flowed into my adulthood as well. So I think that is awesome to connect with, with that inner space and try to heal that. Yeah.
And really, what the work does is we go into the inner pain that is around that core fear,
Yeah.
right? And then we just dive deep into that. And usually you feel it in your cells when it surfaces. Usually you feel
Yeah.
that pain or the emotion in your heart, your throat, solar plexus, or your stomach.
Wow.
And that's where the tension, wherever the tension is, we start to unlock and release it, and
Yeah.
then open up that feeling and that flow of self-love. So it actually starts to heal the pain from the inside out.
Wow.
And in my experience, that's the most profound because it's coming from the individual themselves when
Yeah.
they feel it from the inside out.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in the car yesterday and I was talking to you earlier, the three keys of breaking free from anxiety. So, everyone, I will make sure I put a link in this actual post so that you can try it for yourself. It's free.
Mhm.
Definitely have to try it. Yesterday, I was having one of those days, and I just, I try to find a space where there's quiet, and I couldn't find it. So I parked somewhere in town, far away, in my car, and I'm going through these the three keys of breaking anxiety, and it was awesome because you were saying to find where this anxiety is coming from. Like sometimes you feel it in your stomach or your chest, and for me, it was my jawline. Like,
Mm,
my jawline was so tight, and, so you were saying to touch it and so forth, and so I did that, and it was just releasing all of that tension from, and I think it was because I wanted to say something,
mhm.
but I didn't know how to say it to this person, And so I was holding it in, and I could just feel the tightness. One course that I think that everyone should take. Again, I'll put that information inside of this post. And so, would you like to speak on that for me? Speak on that course and what everything's about? Yes.
Yeah. So the location of tension is so important because that's where the cellular memories that hold the core fear and the core trauma that manifest that stress. So, for example, like let's say getting into an argument with my spouse, right?
Yeah.
That tension is usually around my heart, right?
Mhm.
And my spouse is a reflection of the issues I have with the feminine, which started with my relationship with my mom, right? That's my first,
Right.
our mother and father is our first experience of the masculine and the feminine,
Yeah.
right? Everything else is a reflection of how we relate, everything else meaning like how we relate to other women, other men. It
Yeah.
it is a reflection of our core beliefs that came about in our formative years. So, going back to the anxiety freedom technique, it helps you surface that core fear and it addresses the location of where the original traumatic memories are in your body.
Wow.
So, the first step of the anxiety freedom technique is verbalize everything that's stressing you out, right? And the best thing to do is to grab a pen and a paper and just list it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the things that are freaking you out. Then you
Yeah.
circle the one thing that is stressing you out the most. And then you ask yourself these two questions. What is the worst case scenario of that situation that I circled? And then what's my biggest fear about that scenario? And when you get to that, you just like you could have saved yourself 5 to 7 years of therapy
Yeah.
because you just surfaced the core fear of what your body's freaking out about. It's not
Yeah.
what you think you're stressed out about, right? It's what your cells are freaked out about.
Yeah.
And when you touch the tension, you're touching the cellular memory that holds all, it's like a library of pain that's fueling that reaction.
Yeah.
So you're connecting your calm cells to the tense cells, and then an equilibrium starts to happen because every cell in the body wants to return to homeostasis, right? So you actually help the tense cells return to homeostasis when you touch it with your calm cells in your hand. And then you start breathing deep and slow,
Yeah.
start verbalizing how you're feeling. And really, the key to venting your anxiety is expressing your feelings. Whether you want to cry, yell, whatever you want to say, it doesn't matter. Just express your feelings. Just like a teapot that's on the stove, you got to vent it or else it's going
Yeah.
to burn the pot. We get burnt out. We get burnt out from not expressing and keeping everything in. And then that tension gets worse and worse and worse inside our body. And then it causes, illnesses, diseases, as we don't address that tension. But if you get great at expressing how you feel, there's a whole level of freedom and inner control that you get to regain, and you get to sidestep stress and anxiety eloquently and effectively. So, again, touching the tension, having that balance happen, that equilibrium, getting your body back in balance, breathing deep and slowly. Now the tense cells are getting the life force that it needs,
Yeah.
right? Each cell. Think about when you get stressed out or anxious, your cell wall gets tighter and tighter and tighter. Oxygen can't get in or out because it's in survival mode. But
Yeah.
then when you touch the tension, you start breathing deep and slow, it starts to open up, and now oxygen could get in and out. Now the cell starts to relax and open up and can receive the life force that it needs, right? Think about each cell. It needs life force. It wants to live. So we're really working with the body with anxiety and then verbalizing your emotions.
Yeah.
And then we have a really important component to the anxiety freedom technique, which is writing your freedom statement. And this is where you reclaim your power.
Yeah.
And this is such a key component. It taps into the energy of what we do in the retreats and in the coaching, which is you, through the power of the spoken word, through using your voice, saying, right now, I want to unlock and release all the pain, anxiety, and tension in my chest. And I want to completely break free from the fear of, and whatever your fear is, whatever that deepest fear is,
Yeah.
right now. And then you start breathing deep and slowly. You repeat that statement 2 or 3 more times until your body completely releases the anxiety. And then you use stress stopper breath work to reground yourself into the present moment. And then
Yeah.
you can clearly face whatever is, happening. Now, what you were talking about when you were working at the cash register, that was a life and death situation.
Yeah.
My techniques are for the other 99.9% of our stress that is not a life and death situation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like if let's say you're walking in the city street and you're crossing the street and you hear a bus's horn.
Yeah.
When you turn, you're not going to stop and do stress stopper breath work. When you turn, you will let your body's stress reaction make you jump on the hood of a car to not. That's where your body's stress reaction comes, by the graces of God, comes into play and saves us.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's built for. It's not built for the relationship stress, the job stress, the
Right.
family stress, the pandemic stress. It's not built for any of that.
Yeah.
That's just that stress reaction overwhelms us. And that's why we have the techniques like stress stopper breath work, the anxiety freedom technique,
Right.
the traumatic memory release.
Yeah. I should have met you years ago.
I
Years
wish
ago.
years ago.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Because at that moment, after I had gone through that traumatic event, I was trying to figure out how to not be afraid of things, afraid of
Mm,
every situation, encounter with a person, overthinking whether that person was going to rob me. You know what I mean? To actually to deal with that. But I absolutely love that mini course. And it's awesome also because, life is busy.
mhm,
We want to heal, but sometimes I feel like, especially as a mom, to find that space is hard. But to have those short videos and verbiage and things like that to help out is amazing. And in that small amount of time, and you can go back and revisit it and watch the videos. I think they like clip onto YouTube, and so
mhm.
whenever I need it, wherever I am, if I'm at work or here at the office, I can actually just whip out my phone and click on that button.
Yeah, I love that you're getting great use of it. I love hearing, those stories.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's just when you're on the website stressisgone.com, it says break free from your anxiety. It's like a button, you click on it, put in your
yeah,
email address, and then we'll email you the videos and then you have them forever. It's just 3 short videos and then also a worksheet for the anxiety freedom technique. And the worksheet is something that I developed in the beginning of the pandemic when I started hearing these stories about, the healthcare workers in these hospitals that were totally overrun and they were just in the parking lots, overwhelmed with anxiety and depression, crying, looking like there was no way out. So I felt like I needed to develop a tool that would help them within minutes release all the anxiety so that they could go in and face the day and then release all the anxiety before they get home. And then they have to deal with homeschooling and cooking dinner and doing all those things, right?
yeah. I absolutely love that. I'll make sure I put all that information inside the post so you can click on the links and get connected. I also want to say that Brett Cotter is amazing in that he connects directly with you. You never have to, wait for a message or anything like that. So always feel like you could reach out. I feel like we've known each other forever.
I know we connected really well, just like right
Yeah.
off.
I think I like binged on your videos for like it was like a whole day.
And you're not sick of me yet. I love it.
No, no, I'm not sick of you. So I have all these information, and so hopefully one day I'll have you come back as well because I have so much that I want to pick your brain about, but we only have like this small amount of time. Um, we had talked about children in the inner city, and tell us a little bit about your work in working with children in the inner city and with anxiety and trauma release and things like that.
Yeah, so most of the work I did in the inner city was at the middle school level and high school level, and it was around anger management.
Nice.
And the kids that I was working with were the ones that were getting into the most trouble,
Yeah.
right, in the inner city. And at one point, I was like an anger management specialist in this school. Well, it was actually a building that housed all the kids that got kicked out of the public high school,
Oh,
right,
wow.
for fighting and whatever else they were doing. And every change of class, there was a fight in the hallway. So they gave me a room, and I was like, I need a heavy bag. So they gave me a heavy bag, right? And the first thing I would do is when we, got a child out of the hallway, out of a scuffle, I'd bring him in to the heavy bag room, the stress relief room, right, the anger management room,
Yeah.
and let him hit the heavy bag,
Wow.
and then I would ask them, who are they most angry with? And
Yeah.
then they would say, the person they just fought with. I said, no, in your whole entire life, who are you most angry with?
Yeah.
Your mother or your father? And then within like 30 seconds, they would be bawling,
Wow.
and then we would get to the core of what the issue was,
Yeah.
right? All our anger, and well, I'll just say this for me, my anger was protecting sadness,
Wow.
right? So the folks that I work with, when there's an anger problem, I know there's sadness under there, that
Mhm.
the anger's, hunkering down and just protecting us from feeling again. How
Yeah.
many of us at some point when we're younger said, I'm never going to let that happen to me again?
Right.
And that's part of one of the bricks and one of the punches of anger, right? When somebody comes within our 3-foot radius and we're being threatened, we have that anger response to protect us. But it really comes down to a level of sadness,
Yeah.
that we're protecting ourselves from feeling again. So the work that I was doing there was super, super, super rewarding.
Yeah.
These kids they're amazing kids.
Oh.
They're truly, truly amazing kids
Yeah.
that are in environments where that no one deserves to be in,
Yeah.
right? No one
Yeah.
deserves to be in, from
Yeah.
like not having the family support, from having crime all around them, having violence all around them, having drugs all around them, right?
Yeah.
That's like what they have to overcome in life, and it's very difficult for any of us, for any person, to overcome those things when you're born into a situation like that. So I feel just compassion, and understanding of what would you do if you were in their shoes, you know?
Right.
before
Right.
judging before
Yeah.
judging anyone, what would you do when you're in their shoes? And I just learned a ton from these kids, and it
Yeah.
was a pleasure, an honor to be with them.
Yeah. Being in that environment, you're on fight or flight. I remember, living in the inner city, and I didn't really understand that anything was traumatic until I got into my adulthood. But, always watching over my back when I go for a walk, because that person is on the corner and that corner is not safe. But this
Mhm.
corner may be safe. You know what I mean? Like, just going through that and, experiencing friends dying at early age, 13 and 14, to gun violence and things like that. And it just reshapes your heart, your mind, your body, and everything. And then you get into adulthood and you're just like, why am I acting this way? Why is this bothering me so much? And then there's a sense, like, I just remember wanting to save every child, to just go into the inner cities or wherever it may be, or whatever type of trauma that they were experiencing, and try to help them, to deal with that. But that warms my heart that you had a heart to go in and help, and I'm sure you've made so much of a difference in their lives. And 20 years from now, you'll get to speak to some of them, and they'll say, "Hey, this is what you did for me." So I love that. Yeah.
There's there's a few kids in particular, but one kid left that. He was 17. He moved down to Florida and got a job working at like McDonald's. But
Yeah.
he was literally entrenched in a gang infested neighborhood.
Wow.
And then and I say kid because when I met them they were kids, but now one's in their 30s, and he's a creative director, at an agency, and they're just amazing. It's just everyone deserves a chance. But
Yeah.
most importantly, you deserve a chance. Anyone seeing this, and me and you, like
Right. Right.
if we don't put ourselves as number one on the totem pole, then
Yeah.
everyone else gets a second-rate version of us, and that's not fair to us or to them.
Yeah.
So the work that I do, that part of you that had that compassion that just wanted to save every kid in the inner city,
Yeah.
the work that I do helps you go back to the part of you that wants to be saved and that's waiting for you to save yourself. And
Wow.
that's once like that traumatic memory comes up, that's the inner child work that we do, and it happens fast. We
Yeah.
bring in the most mature part of you that has seen everything and been everywhere and has fully evolved. That
Yeah.
part of your spirit comes in and reconnects with the part of you that's always been waiting for it.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you just feel the pain deep, deep in your heart and your soul start to melt down. And that's really the reconnection that I look for when I'm working with somebody. And that's why I do the work.
Yeah.
Because
That's,
that to me, when you could be on this field in this crazy planet, right? At
yeah.
this crazy,
Right.
and you could reconnect someone where they're in the most pain to the
Yeah.
part of them that is the most free, and you reconnect it and it becomes one.
Yeah.
That's where the work brings the most satisfaction for me
Yeah.
and the
I
most.
have a picture of myself as a child, and I keep it there for a reason to remind me that there was pain there, but to always love her
Hmm.
and to nurture her and bring her, back to the original love that I used to experience. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I was like, I'm going to sit that on my wall just so it's like a constant um, reminder. My next thing, I'd love for us to do something together. I think we talked about it earlier, maybe like a meditation or something, an
Mhm.
example of some of your work that you do. Would
Yeah.
you mind doing that for us today?
Yeah. Um, where would you like to focus it?
Okay.
Where would you like to focus it? If you could like wave a magic wand, what would you want to focus some of like that expansive, unconditional love energy?
Yeah.
Well,
I think I would like to focus it on like going from my middle school years to high school years was a transition for me.
mhm,
And I think there is still pain there. I was super nerdy, I was super smart, and I didn't always fit in.
mhm.
And so I think that there's some things that are going on around that.
All right, great. Can you hear me okay? There was a little bit of delay.
Yeah, there's like a little glitch there. So yeah, I'm good. So just that I remember I've dealt with so many other things in my life that I've worked on, but I just always feel that. And it's so funny because when I run into like old classmates and things like that, that resurfaces for me for some
Hmm,
reason. Like it resurfaces that I had teachers who were unfair. It
mhm,
resurfaces that, maybe I was teased at one point. Those kinds of things were traumatic for me
mhm.
at that time.
When you say that, do you feel any tension in your body?
Yeah. The tension, honestly, the tension is here and then it's always here.
Mhm. So the jaw is interesting.
Mhm.
Sometimes it holds repressed anger. Do you
Yeah.
feel that there was any anger that you never expressed?
I think so because I was always taught not to be angry. I was
Mm,
always taught to handle the situation. If someone did something wrong to me, walk away first, think about it, and then come back to it. But sometimes you don't get to come back to it.
right.
So, it sits there.
Is there anyone in your family young, when you were young, that you would have wanted to have more of your back, like your mother or your father, that you would wanted them to protect you more?
Um, no, I think my parents pretty much protected me.
Mhm,
I felt like I wish I had friends that protected me and had my back more.
mhm,
The people that I were with, I thought that, and I had people that I was really cool with, but then I had people that didn't really like me, and so I felt like everyone should like me in some way because I was so
mhm,
nice. I
mhm.
didn't, I wasn't confrontational and things like that. So I think maybe the anger lies there.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, some of the work that I do involves calling on a higher power. Do you have any words that you like to use for
Um,
calling on a higher power?
Source, spirit. Yeah.
Cool. All right, great. Um, so let's say source.
Yes.
So you can
Source.
repeat after me. You're going to say
Okay.
source.
Source.
I would love to feel safe
I would love to feel safe
inside
inside
when I'm outside.
when I'm outside. Wow.
I want to feel safe inside
I want to feel safe inside
when I'm outside.
when I'm outside.
Dear Spirit,
Dear Spirit,
I would love to feel safe inside
I would love to feel safe inside
when I'm outside.
when I'm outside.
I want to feel safe inside
I want to feel safe inside
when I'm outside.
when I'm outside.
And now just pay attention to anything your body's telling you, right? You might feel an emotion or tension. Just let me know if any, memories come up as we're doing this.
Yeah.
Um, and just let me know what's happening inside your body as we do each phrase.
Yeah. I'm feeling a release
Mm-hmm.
of just telling myself that I can feel safe on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I don't think I ever felt safe on the outside ever
Mm-hmm.
with s- friends, community,
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. I didn't feel safe, but I held my own because
Mm-hmm.
when you live in the inner city, you have to hold your own. Because if you don't, then you feel like you're going to be taken advantage of.
Right. So let's say spirit.
Spirit,
I had to do it all on my own.
I had to do it all on my own.
Help me release
Help me release
the part of me
the part of me
that thinks
that thinks
you're not with me.
that you're not with me.
I want you inside me
I want you inside me
and all around me
and all around me
for eternity,
for eternity,
no matter who I'm with
no matter who I'm with
and where I am.
and where I am.
I want the protection
I want the protection
of my divine and precious spirit.
of my divine and precious spirit.
Help unlock and release
Help unlock and release
all those old memories
all those old memories
from middle school
from middle school
where they teased me,
where they teased me,
where I felt all alone,
where I felt alone,
embarrassed,
embarrassed,
and afraid.
and afraid.
I want to unlock it all
I want to unlock it all
from my spine
from my spine
and the back of my mind.
and the back of my mind.
And
And
I open up
I open up
my divine heart
my divine heart
of the Holy Spirit
of the Holy Spirit
and the power and love of Source
and the power and love of Source
within it
within it
right now
right now
in my body,
in my body,
in my memory,
in my memory,
in my psyche,
in my psyche,
and in my soul.
and in my soul.
Hey, universe,
Hey, universe,
I want to be whole.
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 I would love to be complete and whole.
I would love to be complete and whole.
Thank you
Thank you
for helping me remember
for helping me remember
what it feels like
what it feels like
to open up myself
to open up myself
completely,
completely,
wholly,
wholly,
and solely
and solely
to you, my love,
to you, my love,
with the power
with the power
and love
and love
of my own divine, precious spirit.
of my own divine, precious spirit.
And just breathe deep and slow and just let me know whatever is happening inside your body.
I feel a release and I feel tears.
Mm.
I
Tell me.
feel tears come into my eyes and just feeling a sense of peace.
Mm. Tell me what else.
It feels good to let go.
Mm. The little bit of the tears, right? The
Yeah,
sadness. Where do you feel that? Do you feel it in your throat or your heart?
throat. Yeah, I feel it in my throat. And I think the tears are a mixture of sadness,
Mm-hmm.
but also a happiness
Mm-hmm.
because I can feel it working. on
Mm.
the inside.
Um, if it's okay with you, I would just want to finish up with some work around your throat, if that's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. It's safe
It's safe
to be me.
to be me.
I allow myself
I allow myself
to express my feelings.
to express my feelings.
Hey, my love,
Hey, my love,
you're allowed to talk now.
you're allowed to talk now.
I'm always reconnected with you.
I'm always reconnected with you.
I'm all ears for you.
I'm all ears for you.
I want to know how you feel,
I want to know how you feel,
what your fears are,
what your fears are,
and I'm here
and I'm here
to hug and love you
to hug and to love you,
no matter what you're going through.
no matter what you're going through.
We are always together
We are always together
because I'm one with you.
because I am one with you.
And just so you know what you're saying, the kind of like framing of it is
Yeah.
you're talking to yourself that houses those old feelings. So you're reconnecting with the part of yourself that houses the sadness that may have not expressed things. So that's
Yeah.
where the tension from the throat will come through. But I feel like is there still some tension in the throat? What are you feeling in your throat?
There's a little tension in the throat, but I feel like you're right on point because a person was shutting up and walking away
Mm.
from whatever thing was going on. Yeah.
So what emotion would you put on that tension in your throat? Like, what can you tell me anything else about the tension in your throat?
It's not a bad tension. It feels like it's trying to just come gradually. Yeah. That's explaining it right.
Okay, all right, good. So then we'll just finish up with this part.
Yeah.
It's safe
It's safe
to say how I feel.
to say how I feel.
I'm allowed
I'm allowed
to express how I feel.
to express how I feel.
No matter what's going on in there,
No matter what's going on in there,
I'm allowed to say it out here.
I'm allowed to say it out here.
I'm allowed to let it out.
I'm allowed to let it out.
I give myself permission.
I give myself permission.
I give myself permission.
I give myself permission.
I give my inner self permission.
I give my inner self permission.
I grant my younger self permission.
I grant my younger self permission.
You can say whatever you want now.
You can say whatever you want now.
Forever.
Forever.
For eternity.
For eternity.
And then just breathe deeply and slowly. And then just say, it's safe to be me.
It's safe to be me.
No matter all the craziness I've been through,
No matter all the craziness that I've been through,
I'm alive.
I'm alive.
Because spirit
Because spirit
is always with me.
is always with me.
Spirit is one with me.
Spirit is one with me.
I'm one with it.
I am one with it.
It's eternal.
It's eternal.
It's eternal.
It's eternal.
It's eternal.
It's eternal.
And then just breathe deeply and slowly and just let me know if there's anything else happening inside your body.
It's completely gone. It was here and like here.
Mm. It's amazing. It's like our spirit's karma is to learn through the tension in the body. It's almost like our body is like a memory and a karma bag.
Yeah.
Right? And the spirit comes into it. And now the spirit's figuring out how to navigate through this karma and memory bag, but the spirit can heal it all.
Yeah.
The spirit can like reconcile the karma to balance out the tension. So it's just a matter of connecting with the spirit, talking to the spirit, letting it talk through you,
Yeah.
flipping it around and just making it one, really joining it.
Yeah. I had the tears. They're just coming down. and,
You're the
and it's so,
best.
you know what came to me? And I like to share it with you.
Yeah.
I felt like I couldn't talk. So what I did, and I'll show you later on, this impressive journals that I have from the time that I was a child until now. And
Right.
so the only way that I would express certain things, because I didn't want to offend a person or, cause any chaos, or I would write. So I literally have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of journals of
Wow.
me just writing what I'd like to say on paper. But
Mm,
I never looked at it from that perspective until now.
mm.
Yeah.
Now you could just let it out.
Now I could just let it out. Save the trees.
I was just thinking that. You could save a
I'm
mini
sorry,
forest.
trees.
Well, that was a great use of the trees, though. I'll give
Yeah.
it to you. That was a great use of the
So sorry,
trees.
trees. I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
trees. I'm so happy to just have you in this space. I have like tears flowing, but I need my
I wish
glasses so
I
I
could
can
give you
see
a
at the
hug.
same time.
Zoom hug, remote
Yeah,
hug.
I know,
Yeah.
right? And I appreciate you coming on here today. And I want to say to our community to definitely take some time and to connect with Brett.
Mm.
He is awesome. I mean, just in this short period of time, I've learned so much from him. But before you go, I'd like to ask you to leave something that's on your heart right now with our community.
Just a big group hug. And
Yes.
when you guys take a look at the retreat page, I want you to see the group picture,
Yeah.
right? And just imagine this. We all came there to release trauma.
Yeah.
And I want you to look at the faces of the folks that are there towards the end of the retreat.
Yeah.
Because what we just did, Izzy, we just did was like a few minutes of the work, right?
Yeah. Right.
Can you imagine being in that work for 5 days?
Oh my goodness. I get goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps.
It's crazy. So this weekend's retreat it's just 2 days, so it's not a big
Yeah.
time commitment. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's the transformation is energetic in that it's your spirit, right? So it's not like you're taking a pill or you're going to the gym. It's energetic, but you feel it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how did you experience it? Because some people say they experience it from like warm and tingly feeling all over their body, but some people feel like it opened up from the inside out.
Yeah.
Can you
I,
share anything in like how you experienced it?
yeah. I felt it was opening from the inside out. And I also felt like a pull and give. I wanted to
Mm,
let go. I didn't want to let go. I didn't want to
mhm,
let go. And it was going, and then when you felt that, hey, we should go on a little bit more, I
mhm,
felt a little more letting go. And
mm,
then I felt a little release. And then when we got to the end, I felt like a complete release because I think
mm.
a part of me was still holding on for whatever reason. I'm not sure. Um, yeah. And that's what I was feeling.
It's, the way we hold on to things, it's almost like if you think of like the inside of a lock on your front door, there's
Yeah.
like a tumbler with all these different things that have to line up, and the key goes in and turns everything at once. So it's almost like as we're letting go, there's different layers to it that we
Yeah.
have to unlock and release to get that full release, and it's
Yeah.
like a little mini journey that we go down, the rabbit hole and open it up. But my biggest message to your audience is I love you guys because Izzy is amazing.
Oh,
And if
thanks.
you're part of her community, that means you're amazing too. And it's just a
Oh,
total honor to be here with you. And yeah, the honor is all mine. The pleasure is all mine.
I appreciate that. And if you could do me a favor and tell us when and where this retreat will be, I'll also put it inside the post as well.
Yeah. So the retreat is this Friday in Ellenville, New York. It's about 90 minutes northwest of Manhattan. There are some public transportation options. The closest airports are in Newburgh, in Albany, and then it's like, an hour and a half from like JFK. But people are driving in from Ohio for it. It's going to be an amazing experience. So it comes with 6 meals from an
Oh, I
executive chef
saw that.
prepared. My wife Stephanie's doing 2 movement classes in the morning before breakfast. It's like a gentle qigong to open up our energy field to get ready to release. And then I'm doing 4 stress is gone group healing sessions. And the energy in the group, it's like as the group builds out and more people show up,
Yeah,
the energy just gets stronger and stronger, and the releasing happens quicker and quicker.
yeah,
And it's going to start Friday night is dinner. Then we have a intro healing group workshop for an hour and a half. Around it starts at 7:30. Then we have a little dance party for a half hour after that.
nice.
Then the morning is Stephanie's movement. Then
Yeah,
breakfast. Then a 2.5 hour workshop. Then lunch. Then another 2.5 hour workshop. Then dinner. Then another dance party.
yeah.
And then Sunday morning is Stephanie's movement, and then we have an hour and a half workshop, and then lunch, and then we
Yeah.
go home.
That's beautiful. Like, if anyone out there has ever been to a retreat, if you have not, you have to go. This is mind, body, and soul. There's movement. There's food. The food also helps with everything that's going on because it's vegan and it's healthy,
Mhm,
and you're transitioning through that. So it's mind, your body, and your soul. The movement, the eating of good health, and to spending time and with good energy and releasing. I love it. If I could make it there, I would be there.
I know you would. And, the thing that I'm most excited about
Yeah,
is, the aftercare, because everyone that goes gets the master class.
nice.
Everyone that signs up this week gets a free coaching session, which is a value of $250 whenever they want. They could
Yeah,
do that the week they get home or 2 years later.
yeah.
And you also get brought into the ecosystem, which is like our weekly meditation classes for free,
Mm,
Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning at 9 Eastern. And then you have access to the free trainings on Wednesday nights. So
wow.
there's a whole component to the stress is gone, ecosystem. And
Yeah,
then the time spent in the retreat banks towards certification if anyone wants to get certified in the stress is gone method and then
nice.
become a facilitator.
That's
So,
awesome. I didn't know that portion. That's very nice.
yeah, yeah, it's
Very nice.
exciting.
I'm super excited. So I will put everything inside of this post. Make
Awesome.
sure you tap in with Brett Cotter, and we appreciate you and we
Mm,
thank you
thank you.
for coming here and sharing space with us today.
Thank you
And if you
so much
don't,
for having me.
you're welcome. I always end with may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe,
Mm,
and may you live life with ease and in peace. We appreciate you, Brett.
I love that. Thank you so
And
much for that. That's
you're
such a
welcome. And
great.
we will talk soon.
Yes, thanks so much.
Brett Cotter, author and founder of Stress is Gone, will be hosting an anxiety and trauma recovery retreat December the 2nd through the 4th, 2022 at the Honors Haven Luxury Catskills Resort. Be sure to visit the link below for details.